Balls are back.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, could be Wayne!
I think I got my swagger back. Oh!
I love it, baby!
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! Got it by Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now.
You found a way, okay? All right, now, what I tell you, okay? All right, this decade is going to be the decade of the Vols. You got me?
Reddit to do, and welcome into More Important Issues. It is Wednesday, October 28th. Can you believe October's almost over?
It's wild.
It's pretty weird. I feel like...
Halloween's almost here.
Are you ready?
Do you have a stoom? Do you already have a stoom?
I've got my costume out. I have been given the honor of being Shrek this year. It's an honor bestowed upon me that I do not take lightly. So I'm pretty excited about it, and it's gonna be fun. I think we haven't finalized plans, but we're gonna do. I'm a big costume guy, so I'm a big Halloween guy,
Big stoom guy.
and then I steal the candy from my nieces and nephews. So big Halloween guy.
I love it.
Big Halloween guy. I don't even have to do the dirty work. I still get the reward.
Yeah, I'm doing Puss in Boots, so I'm in the Shrek theme. It's
gonna be fun.
You got honored with that. I just got whatever was left, or somebody volunteered me to be Puss in Boots.
I don't know. Drop it in the chat. I feel like Shrek's gonna be a favorite Shrek character, but tell us if you gotta tell us the second one. I think Shrek's a little unfair to compare. It should be most people's favorite.
Probably Donkey.
Maybe like Donkey, yeah. So maybe drop in those second favorite ones. Tell us what your favorite is. Hopefully we're not talking to a crowd that's too old or too young for it. Shrek's pretty popular across all age groups, so I think it should be fun.
Yep.
This is our bye week talk, guys. Welcome into it. I hope you enjoy. We are going to take a week off from previews. It's I'm not completely, last year bye week time we were a little worn out. You did have one good win, I guess, to kind of carry you through with Mississippi State. This year, it scratch off the first. South Carolina, you kind of grinded out a victory. Missouri, you played well, you looked good as a team. But those three losses since then have kind of just...
It's been rough.
Yeah, it's kind of pushed all that down to the bottom. I'm not angry about it anymore. I'm just hoping we can get it turned around. That's my only hope.
Do you think it's easier, like you mentioned we were so worn out last season, do you think it's easier this time around because we're not going to the games and, kind of spending our whole day surrounded by Tennessee?
Losing does... Oh, I'd rather be at the games.
Right.
I'd rather be at the games. I'd rather have that walk back to my car angry or sad or upset. But yeah, I think that's got to be part of it. You don't have to take that. After Georgia State, I had to walk a long way. It was not, yeah. And we had another game. We had to walk far to just get an Uber. So you get those long, miserable walks. Sometimes you run into some angry Vol fans that are rude. You don't appreciate it. Or other opposing fans. Yeah, I think it's definitely been a little bit less mentally taxing than the past couple years. But it still hurts. It still hurts, really. It hurts, man.
Yeah, I'm thinking being home after a loss is a lot better to me than having to walk back after a loss.
Right.
Like you spent your whole day just being a Tennessee fan. I'm here for this game.
Right.
And then you suck. And then you're just well, that was all for nothing.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I've seen a lot of comments this week, not necessarily directed right at me, but I feel like sometimes I'm a little too negative. I'll take it. Sometimes I am, maybe. But I see a lot of people that are like, if you're being negative, just stop being a Vol. I wish sometimes I could stop being a Vol fan.
Can't do it.
I wish that second half, 3 turnovers against Georgia, that I could just shut it off and go either stop watching sports or start cheering for others. I can't do it. And I know a lot of people are in the same boat as me. And it may not just be like their Vol fandom. Lately you've had that Braves heartbreak and just not a fun fashion. Tennessee Titans, I know they haven't had a ton of heartbreak, thankfully. It's all just kind of been steady
Right.
decline. But yeah, this week where they're 5-0 and go lose to Pittsburgh, and they start off rough. Maybe you can turn off the TV and go home, and then they make a comeback and they bring you right back in just to let you down again.
Yep.
So I know a lot of people are in the same boat as me. They kind of wish they could stop being fans, but I think that's one thing that makes Tennessee fans special. So
Yeah, the Brandon, he gave us a little Vol Twitter little shout out today on unnecessary roughness. Did you see that?
I did. And first off, that's a moron from Mississippi. All right.
Yeah, it's
You know what? He's right. It's a little toxic.
yeah. I agree, but it's a lot coming from him wearing a Mississippi State shirt.
And
Like, you can't say a program is terrible when you're wearing that shirt.
And the issue is how bad Tennessee's been the last decade and a half. If Tennessee's good, it's another Alabama fan. Like it's not, it's another Ohio State. It's a fan base that's been. All fan bases are annoying to some degree.
Yeah.
The ones that aren't annoying are the ones that Kentucky during football season, Oregon, a team that's been pretty good, but they just don't have any history. Like they don't care. I mean, if they're good, they're cool, but if they're not, whatever. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have any history. Whatever. Stanford, USC, the most bandwagon fan base of all time. They don't care when they're bad. They just go pick another team. They just go turn off the TV. That doesn't matter. Notre Dame, pretty historical, but when they've been down, the fans, whatever. We don't have a conference to lose.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of Notre Dame Twitter.
I mean, anything.
Yeah.
I feel like every Notre Dame fan you've met, they're now 65 years old, and it's because that's what was on the television on Saturday mornings.
NBC?
Yeah, they grew up watching them
Right.
because it was the only thing on TV. And I know we're from the South, so you're going to be like, yeah, you don't meet a lot of... Yeah, I know that. That's kind of the point I'm getting at. But, yeah, I feel like that's all the Notre Dame fans you meet. So, yeah, I you know what? The comments they're right, a little toxic. And what was funny is I told you I listened to Dan Wolken on Basillo, and he said Curry wanted to hire Schiano because he needed somebody that could take it, that could take that heat. So, is the fan base good or bad? I don't know. I feel like it can be toxic at times, but you also got to tune it out a little bit, just like you tune everything else out. You can't listen to everything we say.
Right. I think the big thing, do you want to go ahead and get in the Schiano thing?
Yeah, we can talk about the Schiano thing. I do want to kind of, stick around, guys. We're going to talk about a lot. We're going to talk about the bye week, of course. Let's finish this intro and we'll get right into the Schiano thing. And we're going to talk basketball, of course. Basketball's playing just as much football this week, so we'll talk a little bit about it. Got our college football preview, our NFL power rankings. We'll do all that stuff. But yeah, let's talk Schiano since it was brought up today. Since he's 1-0 in the Big Ten at Rutgers, still just barely swimming above 500 in his college football career, though.
Yeah. I think the thing that, if Schiano, would you rather have him than Derek Dooley? Maybe. But, he came, after Kiffin, Dooley, Butch Jones. There was a bunch of mediocrity in there. You couldn't just hire a guy that, like you said earlier, was a shitty coach and then could also be categorized as a shitty person. You just couldn't have that at that point in time. So, Dan Wolken, anytime Schiano is, in good light, he's going to let every Tennessee fan know about it.
Yeah, and I'll even I definitely said shitty coach earlier. I'll even, just to give that camp a little bit more, I'll even say he's a decent coach. 500, whatever. Just above 500 as a head coach. He's been a part of some good staffs in his time. So I'll even say decent coach. I'll give him that. But at the same time, it's does he have what it takes to turn? No. Probably not. Is there stuff in his history that could be worrisome? That could put your program in a bad light? Yeah. Then why do you take a chance on that? A chance like that on a decent coach? Hugh Freeze. Decent coach. You don't take a chance on somebody with the history he has on a decent coach.
Right.
You just don't do that.
Yep.
And then I told you this point, too, that this doesn't get brought up enough. Is Jeremy Pruitt the guy? Don't know. Don't know yet. Is Greg Schiano the guy? Don't know, never will know, probably not.
Hopefully.
But John Curry didn't have the UT fan base trust. And he went out and made this risky hire on a decent guy that may, but probably not have had it. Well, turn around. Philip Fulmer makes this, what you could argue is not a great hire. At the time, at least. But Philip Fulmer has our trust. He has the Tennessee fan base trust. He gets to take those chances. John Curry doesn't. So I feel like it's that simple. I feel like that aspect gets kept out of it a lot. Shiano's 1-0. Cool. He plays Indiana this week, so he might be 2-0.
Yeah.
But I don't think that relates to Tennessee at all. I don't know how. It just can't be two games into his second go around at Rutgers and an immediate compare. I mean, sure, you can talk if you want to use it. If you're Dan Wolken and you want to use it to talk shit, do it. That's fine. But at least own up to it. Like, he wants to act like, no, we're just going to compare them. You're talking shit. And if you're talking, that's fine. Have fun with it. If you want to do that, do that. That's fine with me. I get that. You get added a lot. But just own up to that you're talking shit. Just do that for me.
Right. Yeah, that you're a troll.
Yeah, that's fine. Do it.
Yeah, you're not doing it because you're a great writer. You're doing it to be a troll, to prove your point. So, like I said, any kind of good light, Shion, like, he won a game.
Yep.
Congratulations. You won your first game of the season, where Mississippi State won their first game.
Yep.
How many points did they score last
Yeah,
week?
don't go high on them. Don't go too high on them too quick.
Right.
Yep.
And you beat Michigan State, who was 7-6 last year. They fired their coach, got Mel Tucker from Colorado. Didn't have a great stint there.
No.
And he's all world because he beat a Michigan State team.
Yeah. Let's pump the brakes on him a little bit. Give him some more time. And don't act like it's
And all his team already got COVID, so they're not having to worry about the COVID right now.
And yeah, let's just pump the brakes on Shiano. Someone asked her, are you putting Pruitt on the hot seat? No. I mean, this is a pivotal year. You knew year 3 would be a pivotal year.
Yep.
But I'm not willing to put him on the hot seat yet. That could change. There's some games, I think, left that you need to have better showings in. There's some things we're going to talk about as far as this bye week goes that you need to show that you at least work, that you tried to achieve these things in the bye week. Year 3 is a pivotal year for any head coach. Really pivotal for Jeremy Pruitt. It sucks that it comes in a year that, like this year, but like we've mentioned it, every team is dealing with it. It's not something only Tennessee's dealing with. Mm-hmm. So take that, for what it's worth, but it does. I think it changes. I don't think there's going to be a single coach outside of scandals get fired this year.
No, I don't either.
So
I just think, like, going into 2022 or 2021, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
it's if you go out there and don't show any improvement and lose to that Arkansas team,
it's gonna be rough.
Your seat's gonna get a little warmer.
You don't want to go into 2021 on the hot seat.
No,
and that would be a possibility depending on what happens in the next 5 weeks.
Right.
So, or 6 weeks if you count this week.
Because if you lose to Arkansas, you're the way that you're playing right now. If you play that same way against Arkansas and lose, you're probably not winning another game until Vanderbilt, and that's probably your last win, if that.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, going into 2021, your seat's hot.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I believe that to be true, too. He said, I think if Kiffin had a do-over, he would stay. I think Kiffin's kind of alluded to that. You would think he would. I think he had...
We'd be scoring points.
Yeah, depending on what our scholarship limit would be about right now. But, yeah, I think... You know what? Just to hit on the Kiffin thing real quick. I don't blame him for leaving. I would have done the same thing, roles reversed. If I'm a South USC coach, Tennessee comes calling, I'm doing it. Just don't be a dick about it, man. Just don't leave in the,
thief in the night.
The thing that sucks is, like, that situation was never going to work out well. Like, that stuff leaks. It happens. So it's like...
Oh, yeah.
It's tough. Whatever.
And I think if maybe he was in, like, after Butch, like, just Tennessee fans, like, we've had coaches for so long. Like, we weren't going through coach after coach. And
it definitely felt a little...
And so, yeah, after 1 year, it was just like, what in the world?
It stung.
Guys, I do want to remind you to go check out our sponsors, Tennessee Tap House, Hound Dogs, and Blue Water Climate Control. I mentioned last episode, if you haven't checked out Blue Water Climate Control, do it now. They're giving away 40 free furnaces in the month of October and November. So don't miss out. We're halfway there. Yeah, so they're probably...
It's getting cold today, man. That rainy weather.
God, that was gross.
It's
Knox
tough.
County's on a 2-hour delay tomorrow.
I know.
It's wild.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. All right. Bye week. Let's get right into the bye
If you have
week
any
stuff.
questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat.
I forgot to mention that. Drop them in. I'm on YouTube and Twitter. Landon's got Facebook. Drop them in there. We'll answer them. If we don't get to them right away, we've got a spot dedicated in the show that we will answer them. So stick with us, and we'd love to answer your questions. Love to talk to you guys. So ask away. Let's talk bye week. Bye week. So what are your expectations coming? Like, what do you think has to be shown on the field next Saturday at Arkansas for you to go, all right, you won, you achieved something in the bye week. Or something that you needed to in the bye week, I guess.
I mean, I think we're having issues on both sides of the ball. For me, I think it comes with your quarterback. And if you're going to roll out JG like you're probably going to do, I think you have to have trust in him. You can't run the ball on 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9. You can't do that.
Not every time, at least.
No, you're going to have to open up the playbook a little bit, and if he's your guy, you have to let him run the offense.
Yeah, that's what I agree with that. I think you need to pick a quarterback. I don't think it needs to be another quarterback for the bye week to be successful. I don't think you need to go, if it's not Harrison Bailey, this week has been a waste. Like I think a lot of people want to say. Mm-hmm. But whoever it is, you have to have trust in him. That's what I've got, and ride with him. Whoever it is, right? Don't go out there and throw that conservative crap where it's like we got to play this game because we have to. Whoever it is, have a game plan ready to go and run it and do it and go with him. Have trust in him. You need to. JG's shown the ability to throw the ball downfield decently. Can he make those intermediate throws? That's probably to be determined. Like probably not. Probably not to be determined. Probably not. Mm-hmm. Give him the chance to throw those. You have some deep threats now. Use them. You didn't necessarily have him in Juwan Jennings. And Marcos Callaway maybe an extent because he could go up and win the ball. But he was not going to run by people.
Right.
So if you're going to let JG throw the ball downfield some. Throw the ball downfield some. Give it a chance to extend your defense, especially if they're in man, like Alabama was pretty much all game.
Yeah, I think that's another thing is you got to find some playmakers to help out your quarterback. If a wide receiver's out there, they can't even beat man coverage for a slant.
Yeah.
You can't have one of those freshmen that runs a 4.40 go out there and beat somebody on a slant. You don't have to learn the whole playbook to run a freaking slant.
No,
you don't.
No.
So, I mean, find some playmakers and show some creativity. I mean, last year, Juwan Jennings was slow, and he found his way open.
And you got him the ball, too.
Utilizing the middle of the field. We need to utilize the middle of the field more. And
as much as teams
and that's going to help your outside throws. So, find some creativity. Use Velus Jones more. Have a Wildcat package. Use Jimmy Holiday, Jimmy Callaway.
I'd love to see a Wildcat package.
I mean, if he runs 3 plays a game, somebody has to spend, minutes or hours trying to defend that.
Yeah.
That whole week of preparation, they're having to prep for, if he has 3 plays, they're having to prep for that.
Right.
I think that just throws a little bit of something that, watch out for this.
Yeah.
Just be a little bit more creative in your offensive game plan. I just think we haven't been the last couple games.
It certainly lacks some creativity, and that's pretty disappointing in terms of, I think, Jim Chaney, his first stint at Tennessee. I thought he was very creative, especially in that 2012 season when you had a threat like Cordell Patterson. I said it when we originally hired Jim Chaney. I felt like every game Cordell Patterson was getting the ball in his hand different ways. Like they were running something different to try to get the ball in his hand. I believe you had that would have been. I believe you had a Wildcat package his first year at Tennessee with Eric Berry in it. I mean he's done it before. Now, granted, that was different head coaches, but that's another thing. Pruitt's got to turn over. If he doesn't have full control, and it doesn't look like it, then he needs that. I mean, you have to trust him. You hired him. You paid him a lot of money. You need to have full trust in him. And maybe he does, and it's just something's not there as far as the Jim Chaney this time around at Tennessee. I don't know. Maybe it's a quarterback play. I don't know. But it's just something's got to improve in the offensive play calling. And I mean, it all comes back to the quarterback. But I really definitely want to see I said all that to say I want to see a Wildcat package. I think Jimmy Holiday would be an excellent choice because he can throw the ball.
Yeah.
He's also fast.
Yeah, they got to respect that.
Yeah.
If they do, try to run a play action, they have to respect that.
Yep.
Another thing is utilize one of those bigger backs. 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. I hate having to watch it and us get tackled right at the line and just
no chance of breaking a tackle.
Yeah, and it puts it puts it up to that official where the spot is. You're having to constantly worry, did we get the spot, because we're running up to the line and then we're getting pushed backwards.
And if you don't know what happens when you leave it up to the official, watch the Penn State Indiana game.
Right. D. Beckwith, I'd love to see him just fall forward. Get to the line and fall forward.
You got two freshmen.
T. Hodge.
That's the unfortunate part is your two big backs are freshmen. So that's tough. But you got to start trusting them at some point.
You trusted Crouch to do it.
You did. And the thing
JG didn't, but everybody else did.
Your older guys aren't doing it. So what's going to happen if you start giving younger guys more chances? And that kind of goes into my next point of, I think this week there's a lot of positions open. I think people should have to earn them. I think it should be a blank slate at a lot of positions. Oh, yeah. Keyshawn Lawrence got moved to the star position. That position should be a blank slate. The person who's the best these 2 weeks in practice is playing. I don't care if you played 50 downs at that position. I don't care if you played 0. Like, whoever performs best this week, because no one's earned it on the field.
Oh, no.
On the game field, the one that matters.
And there hasn't been a consistent guy there the whole year.
No.
And none of them have looked great. I mean, at least with a freshman, if they're making mistakes, you can blame it because they're a freshman. And you're building toward the future.
Right.
Whereas playing a fifth-year senior
it's not getting
that's making the same mistakes, that's not going to get it done. And you're not helping your program out in the future.
No. Yeah, I mean, and that kind of touch. I'll touch on this since I mentioned it. I think a lot of positions, not every position, because like offensive line, they outside of one bad game against Georgia, they played pretty. I mean, they played pretty solid. Mm-hmm. That shouldn't be a position where we're going blank slate. Who's got it? Let's go. Defensive line, thought they've played decent. They could have fixed some things last week, but and then you obviously the second half against Georgia, and then everybody played bad against Kentucky. Everybody, you can't blame that on the defensive line.
Right.
Inside linebackers, they've struggled in the pass game, but overall they've done a pretty good job. It shouldn't be, those positions shouldn't be up for grabs. There's several on the wide receiver. Several positions, even running back shouldn't be up for grabs. Obviously, you want to find a third down back, but that position shouldn't be up for grabs.
Right.
So there's several ones that, the guy, you just got to perfect what you have, maybe try to add some depth this week. It's not about a position battle. Pruitt touched on, again, he said it on Saturday about the gap between Georgia or Alabama and Tennessee, and he said, it's much smaller. I've been on both sides of the ball, but it's got to show on the scoreboard. Yeah, and it's the same thing as a player, an individual player. It didn't matter how much they outperform you in practice. If the output on game day is nothing or little, it doesn't matter.
And I do want to allude to his comments because I think as a roster standpoint, just looking at strength and conditioning wise, the roster is far better when he took over. Is it up there with Alabama? Probably not, but it's at least, I guess, closing the gap is. But on the scoreboard is where it matters, and it's not happening there. I mean, look at Jacob Warren. He was 205 in high school, and now he's 245 now. I mean that's heading in the right direction, but it's gotta translate to the scoreboard.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with what you're saying. But if the gap's closing on the field with the players, what does that say about the coaching staff?
That's true. Yeah.
So Jeremy Pruitt's kind of putting himself in a corner where it's like, I think we're getting a lot of things fixed. It's like, well, why? So now we need to evaluate why it's not happening on game day. And if the players aren't the issue, I mean, is there a third option? I'm not sitting here trying to say Jeremy Pruitt should be the coach. I'm not ready to sell him the market. Like I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. But he's made those comments, so you've got to ask what's the difference maker? Mm-hmm. Why is the gap not showing on the scoreboard? It's a question you should be asking because you want to go. You have to. What are you going to be evaluated on? Georgia, Florida, and Alabama. So you have to ask why that gap's not closing, and then you obviously have that abysmal loss to Kentucky.
Right.
So
yeah, this week I think it's all about getting young guys ready because I feel like there is a ton of talent in the sophomore and freshman class.
Well, and you got to find it.
Yep, you got to figure it out. I'm sorry about contact tracing and whatever else, but everybody's gone through it, and you got a full 2 weeks pretty much to get these guys ready to get meaningful snaps.
Yeah,
not in garbage time, meaningful snaps to help this team out on the last 5 games of the season.
And you need to start trusting them.
Yeah.
Like, they need to be given chances in games. You mentioned meaningful snaps. They need to be given chances. You talk about adding depth. The depth's got to matter. It can't just be, well, we got guys there. Are they playing snaps in, are they getting reps in games? Are they given chances when other guys aren't up to snub? Like, what are you doing to try to improve individual guys and the roster that helps the team, that helps close that gap? Because Arkansas, as much as I'm not putting a guarantee win on it, and I don't think anybody should the way Arkansas's played this year, Tennessee's roster is in a far better place than Arkansas's roster's in, and they've got a first-year head coach in Sam Pittman. Not a first-year head coach at Arkansas, a first-year head coach as well. So it's not Arkansas is a very pivotal week, coming off a bye week.
This is a game, you should win.
This should set the tone for the back half of the season. And as frustrating as it's going to be if Tennessee has a back half of the season like they did last year, you take it at this point.
Yeah,
and then you try to fix it in the offseason. I mean, but you take it at this point.
And that's that's got to be a selling point to this team right now. Is like, hey guys, I know we've struggled. Hey, we struggled last year too, and look what came out of it.
And it's going to be incredibly frustrating if that's what happens as a fan, that you're going, you can fix that. You can play like that all year. You may not be Georgia and Alabama playing like that, but you play with probably Georgia. Who knows what happens at Alabama if you can create a couple turnovers, and then you beat Kentucky.
Oh yeah. 100%.
So you're definitely it's gonna hurt if it happens. Looking back at the season, but you take it. So this is pivotal.
But I mean, looking back on the Kentucky it was just the way they lost. It wasn't that you lost to Kentucky, because that Kentucky team isn't a bad loss,
right?
But the way you lost was a bad loss. But those other two teams should have beat you.
Yeah.
And so we're 2-3 right now, but at this point,
best you're 3-2.
Yeah, right. So
that's it's tough. It's a tough.
You have a chance to rewrite the ship this week.
It's the way
you got to go do it.
Yeah. It's the way Georgia and Alabama were lost. Alabama, I think if you lose, same score, but you were giving them your playbook. You were trying, and their defense just was making different story after that game. But it just felt so
bland.
So it felt like you were playing Georgia State and you lost to them. It was bad. And then Georgia, the way the second half turns out, that quarterback's, speaking of hot seat, has been on it for a while. So that's the tipping point for just about every fan to be. So that's the frustration with the fan base. I don't know where the frustration with the team lies, because then Kentucky, you come out and lay an egg the next. I don't know. Someone mentioned Kentucky capitalized on turnovers. Yeah, I mean, they did. Absolutely. You score on those turnovers. If you don't score on those turnovers, completely different ballgame. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they capitalized on them. Kentucky did it, and they were solid. It's frustrating. And the last point I have for the bye week, and you got to find some confidence. You've got to whatever. We talked about it last week, and a lot of people were like, you got to win to have swagger. You also got to have swagger to win. To win some of these games, you got to have some swagger, and it doesn't look like Tennessee has a lot.
Yeah, they need some kind of emotion, spark, something like that. Some kind of excitement within the program.
Yep. Something's got to happen. And
can we please do some tackling drills? 23 missed tackles again on Saturday.
I think that might have been the low end. I think I take the over. I think I do. I think I take the low end. We had someone mention. And haven't had a quarterback. Somebody had a quarterback since Bray. What they're saying is Dobbs was a playmaker and winner. Not a fantastic quarterback as far as mechanics. That's why he's not playing in the NFL. I mean, it's not. I'm not taking anything away from Dobbs. I love Dobbs, one of my favorite to watch. He's a flat-out winner and playmaker. If he's on a different staff, I think, with a different team, he wins a lot more ball games.
He was the gorilla glue to a cracked dam.
Yeah. He's a Tim Tebow type guy. If he's on a better team with more athletes around him, and he did have some athletes around him one year, but you saw how they were utilized. He just wins. It's just who he is. He won with bad teams.
And he covered up a lot.
Of mistakes. Butch Jones owes a lot of that $8 million to him.
A lot of it. And can we do some ball drills this week with Kenneth George, please?
Someone mentioned,
Bryce Thompson.
Well, someone mentioned the pass rush. It's got to get better. Yeah, it's definitely got to get better.
I think it's
the balance though is what you got to find. When you're blitzing 6, 7 guys, you do fine. I mean, because the blitz is coming from the second level, look fine. You're getting to the quarterback, you're getting pressure, but you got to find balance in it. You got to be able to rush 4 or 5 guys, and you're not going to get a sack most of the time ever. But you got to get pressure. You got to force him to move around. You got to help your secondary out a little bit.
Mac Jones could have taken a dump, wiped his butt, and washed his hands before we
From
were
the look
gonna
of his
ever get
face
there.
with that cigar in his mouth, he had to take a dump. So he should have just done it. Yeah, it was. It was.
But I think that's another position where if the juniors and seniors aren't getting it done, try some freshmen out.
Yep.
Roman Harrison got a sack last week.
Tyler Barron's looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Morvan Joseph.
Morvan
I know
Joseph.
he's moved around a little bit now in the last couple weeks, but
Bryson Eason is
chance.
at the outside linebacker position. Yeah, give those guys a shot.
yep.
I hope they're giving them a legit shot to get some meaningful snaps this week.
I hope so too. I really do. I think you should. I mean, you have to be. Pruitt mentioned on Monday that they had a scrimmage similar to that after the Georgia game or Kentucky game, and what game was it after? Georgia. They had that Sunday scrimmage, and mentioned it was similar where sounds like Stroud is out of it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it was
can't
just
tell.
Maurer and
Bailey.
Bailey.
Got meaningful snaps, and I'm sure a lot of young guys did. So we'll we'll see what this week looks like. I think there should be a lot of positions though that are not solidified. Not a lot of people have earned positions on game day.
No.
So I know the practice field is different. I know it. You don't have to tell me. I realize that. But at some point you have to go, it's not working. We got to try something else out. We got to.
And if the game is the only thing that we're seeing, we got to have something some kind of evidence that this guy's better than somebody else.
Right. Yeah. I think it's easy for fans to go, well, I mean, if that's guy playing. He's way better than the guy behind him. But that's just not always the case.
Right.
It's not always the case.
Yep.
So I think you even saw that a little bit last year with the QB situation where it's like, was JG better than Brian Maurer and JT Stroud? Probably. Was he heading last year at least? I mean, maybe this year. Maybe. Again, I don't know. I haven't seen enough.
Yeah.
Was he head and shoulders better than?
If they were in the same grade, who would start? I think it'd be a toss-up.
Yeah. So, yeah. We'll see as far as that goes. What'll happen this week? Unfortunately, you won't know how the bye week goes until Arkansas. So.
You want to get in some questions?
Yeah, let's grab some questions real quick. If you got them, I need to pull Twitter back up. If you got some questions, drop them in. Drop in here, we'll get them. We're going to get some from Facebook real quick.
So this is from Big Orange Pruitt. He says, if you have a player not meeting expectations in any position in any sport, do you leave them in that position? You shouldn't. Hopefully you have somebody behind them that's able to meet some kind of expectations. Right. And he says, if you have no other player better, do you seek another player? And on the flip side of this, if that player is elite, wouldn't you want a good replacement? Yeah. You definitely want a good replacement.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to build depth then if the guy's good. And, I mean, they should be – there's not a lot of positions on the field that your number two guy – there's a few that your number two guy isn't playing.
Right. I'll say this. I think this question might be about the quarterback. I think that's kind of what he's alluding to. You haven't recruited well at that position since before Harrison Bailey.
Right.
You know, guys that you've told to maybe look elsewhere, Adrian Martinez, Michael Penix Jr., Sam Howell, and then you get JT Stroud and Brian Maurer. I mean,
yeah.
Yikes.
It's not been, and you're not getting chances either.
No.
Kevin mentioned, I'd like to see how Maurer would have played without injuries and concussions last year. Yeah, I mean, who knows who Brian Maurer is without those. I mean, he, like I said, probably not a great quarterback from what we've seen, the evidence we have right now. But the energy he brought to the team was night and day.
Yeah, he's gonna make some plays. He's also gonna turn the ball over a lot.
Yeah, it was night and day though, the energy. Will Kellogg, interesting. Kind of going back to what we talked about earlier. If I was Fulmer, I would make Urban Meyer an offer he can't say no to. We have to get a coach that knows how to win. That's a coach that's got a troubled past. But you know what?
He's a good coach.
A guy you take a risk on.
Yeah, that's a guy you take a risk on. Yes.
We were talking about Shiano earlier that you don't take a risk on a guy like that, especially when you're John Curry and not Phil Fulmer. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you know what? I'm not going to say no to that, Will, but I'm not going to entertain the idea yet.
Yeah, like I also want Dan Wolken just like pump the brakes a little bit because there was Tennessee fans when Mississippi State went and beat LSU that first week. They're like, "See, we should have hired him. We should he was our guy. And now they're hush because he scored 2 points against Kentucky.
Yeah, no,
We scored more points and gave up 2 pick sixes. So
yeah, that's the
they threw 6 interceptions.
The
against
2017 hire, coaching search is only looking good for one guy, and that guy from all angles looks like he played you for an extension. He's currently ranked number 6 in the nation right now. So he also has the best running back in college football. Well, not G. Harris, probably one of the best running backs in college football.
Right. Yeah.
So that helps.
Chubbas.
Okay, so you want to talk about this. Pruitt's good wins versus bad losses. So my question is, how many good wins do you give him? Because I think you could argue...
I have 4.
You have 4. Okay, what are they?
So I have 2018 against Auburn. When they're number 21, you beat them 30-24 at Auburn. 2018 against number 11 Kentucky when they walked their best team ever into Neyland Stadium and just got twaxed 24-7. Also have the 2019 South Carolina game. I think it was a game, maybe it was a toss-up game going into it, and you beat them by 20.
Yeah.
And you got over that Muschamp curse.
And you spotted him 7 points.
Right. Right. And then 2019 Indiana game. It was a bowl game. It was a meaningful win. Maybe not a great win, but it was still a good win for your program, so I count it.
Okay. So that was kind of my, I definitely see, I think a lot of people don't want to give the Kentucky win because you should beat Kentucky. That the excuse of best team, worst team should beat them. I give them, like you said, it was our best team and ever, number 11.
And our team was terrible.
And Tennessee was not good, and it was not the quarterback's fault only.
No.
So I definitely give him 2018. 2019, I give him South Carolina. You know what? Interesting you bring up Indiana. I'm not going to say no. I'll give you that one. Like you said, it was a bowl win. It was meaningful. You had to come from behind. I think you grind some out. But you'd like to see Pruitt's teams play better. But I'll give you that. So 4 wins. 4 wins. I'll give you that. What sucks is a lot of those don't, the only meaningful ones are the 2 last year, 18 in Auburn and Kentucky. You didn't get to a bowl because you lost to a bad Vandy team. So it's like they were all for nothing kind of deal.
Yep.
But 4 meaningful wins. It's probably, probably a little bit more friendly than some people would be to them. And I could understand if they want to take away Indiana and Kentucky in 18. But you can't take away the South. Like you said, it was I don't think if Tennessee was favored in it, it could have been by more than 3. And I just don't recall.
Right.
So I think you got to get that South Carolina win. And got done talking about that pivotal week last year of Tennessee had to respond. Nothing seemed to be going their way yet, and then they go off on a 6-game win streak to finish the season. So it was very pivotal. So I think you have to give up that South Carolina.
So this is the week, right?
So
this has to be the week where you turn it around.
Next week has to be the week.
Right.
Okay, so bad losses. Plenty of them. I'll say plenty in the show to talk about them.
So I have 4. I didn't count ones that you were supposed to lose.
Okay.
There was bad losses. You got blown out. I mean, I didn't count the Georgia, Florida, Alabama just because you were supposed to lose those games.
Fair. Would you like to talk about how they were lost after? Oh, go ahead. We'll talk about it.
So 2018 Missouri, 50-17 in Neyland Stadium, terrible. Unranked Missouri team, terrible. Terrible loss.
That was Drew Lock, if we're going to be
Drew
fair
Lock
about it. And I think a lot of people knew that you were going to get the ball thrown all over you, and that secondary, you had 2 freshmen. Granted, we're really good freshmen, all SEC freshmen. One All-American, and but you knew you did not have what it took to contain Drew Lock.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, not a good look.
Right. After you've beaten Auburn.
Yeah.
That's what I think that's what made it so bad. And then 2018 Vanderbilt 38-13, it just looked like Tennessee had no interest in going to a bowl game.
Right. Which is unfortunate because Pruitt mentioned it. The extra practices alone are why you want to go.
And we were there. It made it even worse.
You made me really sad in person.
Right. And then 2019 Georgia State, I mean, that's just inexcusable.
Yeah.
I mean, if toward the end of Philip Fulmer's career, he's fired after that game.
Correct.
And then 2020 Kentucky, 34-7. Again, it's not because you lost Kentucky, it's the way you lost Kentucky.
Yeah. So did you leave out BYU?
See, like, I thought we played good enough to win. And they look pretty good right now. It wasn't necessarily a bad loss to me.
I got to put it on the bad loss sheet. I got to.
I think you probably should have won that game, but you
kind of go back to the Missouri, even though it was a blowout. You lost in Neyland. You lost on a blown coverage, but you still had a chance to win in overtime. You had chances, and you should have won by more probably. Your offense didn't play great in that. I've got to put that on the bad loss category, especially because I think after you lose to Georgia State, a lot of people expect a team like Tennessee. So when you lose to a team like Georgia State, when any FBS team loses or any Power 5 loses like that, that's an anomaly. They bounce back. And it was just the circumstances and how it goes.
Yep.
Yeah, if you beat Georgia State and BYU, I may be in the same boat as you and going, I mean, look at where they're at. Look at where they ended last year. But I think the circumstances around it's like you really should have won that game, and you didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I just didn't. It was an overtime loss, and I don't know. Like we should have won the game.
Yep,
we had it
in
hand, but it was blown coverage. If I'm going Pruitt, good wins and bad losses, I don't necessarily count that one against him. But you could.
I do.
You
personally. I
do. But I think the big thing with this is you haven't been competitive in those other games. In those games you lost, you haven't been competitive in.
Yeah, so I was going to try to pull it up. Nathaniel Rutherford used to be Rocky Top Insider. I think he does an SEC basketball podcast now. He tweeted out on Monday a pretty damning stat.
So I have
Do you have it?
I don't know if it's the same thing, but I did how Georgia, Alabama, Florida, how we've been outscored by both of them, by all three of them in the past 3 years. 347 to 122.
Yeah, it's not good. Not a good look.
And then if you count West Virginia in there, because you beat Kentucky and Auburn, but you haven't beat a ranked opponent since.
Right.
So your ranked opponents, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, West Virginia, outscored 387 to 136. So you haven't been competitive against good teams.
No.
And then you've also lost to some bad teams.
Yeah, you've had. Yeah, and I think it is important to remember the state of. So, just in case we need to be fair, it's important to remember 2017. You had the worst season in Tennessee history. You had 4 wins. So it's important to remember the state of it. But
yeah, what you inherited was absolute dog shit.
Yeah,
it was terrible.
Not only was the program, really in a bad spot. It almost always is going to be when you change coaches. But then the roster was in a terrible spot. I mean, it was not. And then you look outside of that, you had athletic director change, everything that goes into a good program was not going your way. So to be fair to that, and what Jeremy Pruitt's got ahead of him, but that's also why we're probably saying he's not in the hot seat yet. Mm-hmm. So we're taking that into account.
Right.
So Nathaniel, he's got how many 17-plus point losses Tennessee's most recent coaches have had? Majors had 21, Fulmer had 17, Kiffin had 2, Dooley had 9, Butch had 10, and Pruitt's had 12. 17 point. And again, context is important. It is. But I think it's still worth noting.
I thought what's bad is I think some of it's effort.
Yeah.
Because you were in that Alabama game. Like it was going to be a 1-score game, and it turns out you lose by 22. So after that, I know it's deflating, but hey, you got to respond somehow. Like his team just don't do a great job of responding in games.
Yeah, and man, that Alabama game, I just hate to, because it's probably one player away, not just one play. So you're talking about 11 guys doing their job, coach calling the right play. I mean, we're talking about one guy. So I agree. The effort's been questionable in some games. Alabama and in 19, I hesitate to, just because one guy turns it. It's a 14-point swing.
Well, that's the Kentucky game too.
Yeah.
One guy, you probably beat Kentucky.
But at least you can point to those and go, a lot had to happen. Whereas it's not just one guy trying to go, dude, that's another thing. If we're going to pick on the quarterback, what the F is up with his sneaks? It's not just that one. Every time he raises straight up and tries to go over the pile. What quarterback does that?
Yeah, stick your helmet right in Brandon Kennedy's ass and
Follow
go.
him to promised land.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Hell, if you don't trust Brandon Kennedy, you got Trey Smith a foot to your left. Go up his ass.
Yeah. Kevin Burker mentioned that he'd like to see Pruitt bring Chavis in as a defensive advisor, at least to have another set of odds. Yeah, you got a guy that was successful at Tennessee and several other programs around campus. Yeah, and he's good friends with the AD.
He'd probably do it for cheap.
I mean, bring him in as a what do they call him now?
Analyst.
Yeah. Bring him as an analyst. He's going to do more than Butch Jones will do for Alabama.
True.
They got Butch Jones there.
Yeah. Yeah. Chief is probably not going to go get coffee. He's probably not going to do
Which
that.
is fine. You don't need him to.
Right. Yeah, Pruitt doesn't look like a big coffee guy anyway.
Oh, come on.
You think?
He seems like a guy who drinks black coffee.
It's just black.
Like
yeah, he doesn't.
He seems
put
like the
anything
guy
weird
that
in
comes
it.
in to like a gas station at 10 p.m. Going home. He's like, you guys got coffee still?
Is it hot?
It seems like to me. Yeah. Okay, so bad losses. Okay, so good wins versus bad losses. So, like, I mean, where do you rate? What grade, I guess, do you give?
I mean, it hasn't.
Passing, failing. Has he won enough good games to cancel out the bad losses?
Probably not.
I don't think so either. But
then again, you do have to look at what he inherited. I mean, look at in a second. I have another question, and I'll go ahead and read that real quick. Grant Patterson says, compare Pruitt's first 3 seasons to Dabo and Saban's first 3 seasons at their respective top tier programs. So let's start with Jeremy Pruitt. What he inherited: crap roster. Not a lot of talent at your most important position, too. Just not a lot. You know, it is his first job. You know, Saban was a head coach before he took over at Alabama.
Yep. He had won a national championship at his most previous college spot.
Right, and they had good recruiting classes. Like Alabama, I think they were number 8 that year that they... I need to go back to it. So he took over.
So you're looking at Saban in Alabama, not Saban at Michigan State or LSU.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just looking at.
So to Saban to kind of put. I mean, think about where the SEC was at in 2007, and where it was at in 2018.
Right.
Very different spots too. I mean, Saban's obvious, and Saban's. It's hard to compare Saban to anybody. I feel like when you're talking about laying the groundwork of college football. And you're saying, all right, whose coach is good versus bad? I feel like it's unfair to compare any coach. Maybe Dabo. And I mean, is Dabo on Saban's level yet? Has he won enough to be on Saban's level?
Well, and Dabo's benefited from Florida State being down. So they didn't start winning. They won one time since Dabo's took over. They won in 2011, was their first time winning the ACC championship.
Which was his 3rd year.
Florida State won in 3.5.
Okay, he took over halfway through.
And that's another thing. He got a whole year to basically recruit that recruiting class. Pruitt got like 3 weeks to get those juniors. They're now juniors here.
Yeah.
He had to convince Alontae Taylor to stay committed. Greg Emerson, he lost Cade Mays, lost Adrian Martinez. You know, that was rough. We didn't have a great recruiting class anyway because of the year we had. And for him to just kind of put one together, and we just don't. The difference in these 3 programs, Clemson, how many first-round draft picks they getting every year?
Yeah.
Multiple. Alabama, multiple first-round draft picks. Who's Tennessee at?
It's going to take a while to build a program. You got to.
That's why I think you have some young talent and freshmen and sophomores that will probably be high draft picks.
That's the question you got to ask, though, as far as Pruitt goes. Is he getting you to a spot where your program is going to be something consistently? So I think when you look at it, it's not necessarily where is Pruitt at today.
That's why I think 2021 is becoming more and more important.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, especially if year 3, even in this year, even, if year 3 isn't going to be great, I mean, what is the best case scenario? You probably end up, 5-5? Best case scenario, probably. Maybe 6-4 best case
6
scenario.
and 4. And that's what everybody thought we'd go.
You're right. You're right.
So, I mean, yeah, you lose to Kentucky. It was a bad loss. And even last year, you lose to Georgia State, lose to BYU, and it's frustrating because you should have been better.
Right.
But
everyone had you at 7-6.
Right.
8-4.
8-4, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with that. Like you said, it's just the way those losses. And again, that's why second half of the season was so frustrating last year. And if something does turn around, if something clicks, if something gets fixed in the quarterback play, that's why the first half of the year is going to be so incredibly frustrating this year. Because you're going, you had it in you. You shouldn't have lost that Kentucky team. You probably should have played Georgia and Florida closer. But at the same time, it's like, if you get it fixed, get it fixed. But yeah, I mean, if it does happen, if it does, I don't know if it will. I'd hate to jinx it now. But if it does, you got to be asking the question, why can't Pruitt get it figured out in the first half of the year? But I mean, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, I guess.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, the SEC East alone is far better than it was when Saban took over in 2007. Better than yeah, probably better than the West was then.
But they were
LSU,
they were ranked.
maybe Arkansas.
Like both of those, Tommy Townsend. I forget who was before Saban. I can't remember who it was.
I almost said it, but didn't get it right. So I stopped.
Tommy Bowden, not Tommy Townsend. Tommy Townsend was a punter
in the NFL now. Where's he at?
I don't know. But yeah, Tommy Bowden. Like those two programs were ranked before Saban and Dabo took over. Tennessee was like the bottom of the barrel SEC team. They weren't beating Vanderbilt.
Mike Shula. I almost
Mike
said Mike
Shula.
Shula.
That's right.
I almost said Mike Shula. I hate myself.
Like Vanderbilt had a good record against Tennessee at that point.
Yeah. I mean, it is. Yeah, that's why I can't deal with the Tennessee's needs to be ready to part ways right now with Jeremy Pruitt, because I think it's. I mean, it's gonna be the rest of the season plus the beginning of 2024 before you can really decide.
And he
where
does.
this program's headed.
He hasn't done it the way that you might have expected him to, like the path that you expected him to. But he's gotten there.
Yeah. I mean that's fair.
Because everybody freaks out, like, oh, this recruiting class isn't looking too good. We need to do something, and then boom, National Signing Day pulls off upsets.
Yeah, I mean the expectations, like you said, mostly for the most part have been met. And if you take with the expectations from the beginning of the year, if you do that, but when in hindsight, you're going, you should have beat Georgia State, probably should have beat BYU, shouldn't have had that loss to Missouri. Talk about the bad losses. Yes, I mean that's tough, but where the roster is at today to where it was 3 years ago, I mean it's night and day.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't think it's ready. It's time to get rid of him yet. That's not time to get rid of him. I don't believe that.
But yeah, this bye week is very important.
Pivotal, man. It's pivotal.
Very important.
Team news.
So the first thing, Kenny Solomon, the sophomore DB, switched his position to wide receiver. So a track guy, another fast receiver. Are we going to utilize him or not? Also, that's another thing within the bye week I want to utilize. Jalen Hyatt and Josh Palmer, those seem to be your playmakers so far. Make them a more pivotal part of the offense.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned this. I don't remember who I tweeted it at, but it's going to really continue to hurt our offense if the only guys getting the ball consistently are our two running backs. And when you look at the first 5 games, those are the only guys getting it consistently, besides JG, who touches the ball every play. So yeah, I mean, you definitely got to find a way to get those playmakers more involved. You got to find that ability. My only question about Solomon is, I just feel like he's going to get buried in the talent at wide receiver now.
I don't know.
I feel like we're not utilizing enough talent there as it is.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, but who knows?
To be determined.
Who knows?
Okay. TBD.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And then you have Key Lawrence, like we mentioned before, to start at the star position this week. I think that's big.
It's a ton of talent, speed too.
Yeah, and a bigger, he's
yeah
bigger than Sean Sham, taller.
Yeah.
So yeah,
He is a freshman, so we'll see what
I mean,
see what happens.
the good thing about like playing these freshmen is like you can't get worse.
No, I don't.
I
think
mean,
you
if
can.
they're not making plays, like what's
I'm with you. I don't think it can get worse.
right? I mean, the star position, perfect example. Like it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's a hole that everybody's going to utilize until you get something fixed.
Yep.
So I'd definitely rather, it's the same thing in quarter. I'd rather have a freshman out there making freshman mistakes than a fifth-year guy making freshman mistakes.
Hard to argue with that.
Yep.
Hard to argue with that.
And then Jeremy Pruitt mentioned Bryce Thompson is playing with a torn pec.
Made a joke in high school. We because you get those injuries on NCAA and Madden all the time. You know, guys out with a torn pectoral. And someone asked our athletic trainer in high school, said, "How come that injury never happens here? You guys don't have pecs." I'm like, that's fair. That muscle is not there.
That's awesome.
But it says he's playing with it. Says he's working through it.
And I mean, he's looked better than Schamberger.
He probably should have had an interception.
Kenneth George. Yeah, he should
Alabama.
have. He should have.
I mean, it was a great play. I think it was Mechie that made it, but great play from him. But
Got to be a pick.
should have been a pick. It went through your hands too.
Again, do ball drills. Ball drills. Those guys, if nothing else happens in 2 weeks, they're going to learn how to catch the football.
Pruitt mentioned fundamentals, so
Learn how to catch the football. It's the easiest part. That's like the first thing you do when you're a child.
yeah, yeah. Excuse me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
That's all I got for team news.
Okay, we got a question.
Let's
On
get it.
Twitter. This is from Pace Melvin. He said, "Do you think this coaching staff is developing the way most thought they would? To me, that was the major downfall of the previous staff.
Repeat it one more time.
Do you think this coaching staff is developing players the way most thought they would? To me, that was the major downfall of the previous staff. I think there's guys. I think the young guys have developed okay. I think it's the older guys that were, maybe it's just past time. I don't know, and maybe that aren't developing though. But I think the young guys, for the most part, there's been some guys that have come along. But I don't know if they've developed enough players to say that they've lived up to their expectation for me.
Right.
But I think there's been some good development. Yeah.
It's good to hear from Pace. That's my guy. I'll see him this Friday, Pal South Louisville. Pow. I feel like we've done a decent job. Like Najee Warrior, Kyle Phillips.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, those guys, like their senior season showed out. I mean, Najee Warrior was all SEC.
Yeah. Fair.
And 3 years ago, he couldn't even catch a football. He was needed ball drills. See, I feel like we've done a decent job of some guys that maybe had the talent and kind of getting it out of them late.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think there's, again, you look at Alabama, Clemson, I think there was just a lack of talent.
Oh, I mean, yeah, the talent's not. When you look across the roster, it's just not quite there. There's definitely been some guys. I mean, there have been some guys that have gotten better. You can see it, especially the older guys you mentioned. You saw the difference when the staffs came in. Something clicked for them.
Right.
Something did. But I think. I think the what sucks for Pruitt is even if he's done good at every other position in developing, the one position that you're going to really be graded on, you've not done great at.
Right. I think the DBs have struggled.
Well, I just meant as a coach, the head coach. If you look at him and you're like, well, he never had a single good quarterback. The one position, like if your coaching career ended today,
yeah, that'd be used for him.
yeah. So,
but also
even as a defensive guy, I think as a head coach, like nobody's going to hire you if you couldn't figure it out at the quarterback position. Why would they?
yeah, I mean, like who would JG start for in the SEC? Maybe Vanderbilt. Is that it?
Yeah, I mean,
maybe Missouri. Maybe.
I feel like Basil's pretty good.
Yeah.
They beat LSU.
I mean, he wouldn't start at Arkansas.
No.
Maybe I doubt he starts at Kentucky. They love Terry Wilson to death.
They love Terry Wilson, and I mean, I just think they like what Terry Wilson. Whether they believe he's a great quarterback, I think they like what he brings to Kentucky.
Yeah.
So I think Vanderbilt's probably the only one.
That's
Tennessee
sad.
and Vanderbilt.
It's sad.
Yeah.
It really is.
I mean, he doesn't start it. He can't do the job at Mississippi State and Ole Miss that is asked of those two quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
is the guy at Mississippi State more talented than JG? Probably not, but I don't know if he can necessarily do the job that's asked of him. So,
Rob Lewis had a interesting quote at VolQuest. He said I think it was Rob Lewis, if Tennessee played a JV game where they just played their freshmen and sophomores against Alabama's freshmen and sophomores, it's probably a decent game.
I don't know if I can argue with it. I hope not, but I don't know if I can argue with that. I think that there would be some disparity in the line. But, yeah, I mean, outside of that, it'd probably be a pretty good game.
Yeah.
Because you are pretty... Well, I mean, I guess when you include Darnell Wright and Wanye Morris...
Spraggins?
I mean, Spraggins, yeah. Might be a better game. And you got to remember on the defensive line, you got guys like Tyler Barron,
Morvin Joseph.
I mean, yeah, it's probably
Henry To'oTo'o will be there.
He's just like, yeah, you're right.
I mean, I think so. Like that's why I think next year is such a important year for Pruitt.
You've got to salvage. Yeah, I don't disagree, but you got to salvage this year.
Because what you got coming in, and then what you already have on this roster, what's coming in is going to fill a lot of holes that you have right now.
And I know we talked about how Vanderbilt's probably the only you could ride it down and win, but at the same time, you've lost games that you could ride it down and win, so you got to still go win it.
We got 4 right here.
Yeah. Arkansas, you got to go win it, I think. Yeah. And then you've got to find a game somewhere in there that you win to.
Yep.
Vanderbilt, Arkansas, beat them, and then you got to find a win in there and be 5. I mean, you got to be 5-5, I think. Not that I think he'll get fired. I don't think he'll get fired if he's 4-6. But I think when you talk about where you want to be, who you want to hang on to in this recruiting class, I think 5. I mean, because I think you could continue to sell it to some guys. Not only the guys that you currently have in your recruiting class, but also the guys you're trying to get if you go 5-5. Anything less than that, though, I think it'd be very, very tough.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it'd be very, very tough.
Yep. Got to hang on to those guys. Got to keep building on that talent that you have. I just think there's, I think Tennessee fans wanted to see that the talent gap wasn't as evident, but I mean it was evident on Saturday.
The coaching gap might be.
Oh yeah, I mean there's a reason why Nick Saban hasn't lost to a single assistant.
Yeah, but we've also got Kirby Smart who we're talking about too. So.
Right.
Somebody hopped in here and said, "Play Bailey." I like it. Right off the bat.
Yeah, just go for it.
Straight to the point. I love it. You know what? I'm in the Play Bailey camp right now. I am. Basketball news. On a happier note, basketball news.
New unis, baby.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about Happy. I got really excited.
Hanging in the Louvre. Not the art museum in Knoxville, just the Louvre. Just go right.
That was a good little
video
presentation as well. Yeah,
I liked it.
Yeah. John Fulkerson looking mighty as ever with Eves Pons. Who else is in it?
EJ and Asiki.
Yeah, I love it. I loved it. I love the orange jersey. The only thing I would have loved to see is the classic Nike logo, like the check with the Nike. That would have been fantastic. Yeah. Also, I hope since they didn't do that, what that means is those are permanent orange and white jerseys forever and ever.
Gotta be.
Amen.
Get rid of those other ones.
Yeah, those are ugly. These are beautiful. Keep it simple, stupid.
Exactly.
There's nothing fancy about it.
You like
Tennessee
the old court
volunteers.
Too? If they did that, would you like that?
I would love the middle logo. I think you keep the checkerboards in the ends.
Okay.
Love the checkerboards. Nothing better than them. But yeah, I love the middle logo. Or this. So I think the one that Classic Tennessee picture tweeted out was a state with Vols around it. That or just a state. State's a good look.
Yeah.
I love the Nike font that they use. I think it's overused. I think they go away from some of the more classic fonts that Tennessee has. It's like the Nike font is what you got there. You guys can't see it.
Oh, yeah.
You can in the Vols. That's the Nike font.
Like the previous uniform.
Yeah, that's the Nike font. And what you see on like the new shirts.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, I think the Tennessee, put the state on there. I think it'd look really good.
Love it.
You can even put if you desperately need to keep that font, put that font inside the state.
Yeah.
Look good.
I
see it in my head right now.
I would like the Vol star just in the middle. I think that looks so good
too. I don't know if you've seen that a lot with basketball logos, though.
No, not.
Here's another thing. So if we're going to keep those as our original, and your throwback unis need to have the baby blue in them as an ode to the Ray Mears years.
Okay.
A little baby blue outline, so.
Lady
Be a good
Vols.
look. A little baby blue trim. Because a lot of people don't know that. That was not a Lady Vols thing originally. Ray Mears brought it because he loved the Carolina powder blue.
Okay.
So
It's nice.
it's a good look on Tennessee uniforms.
The Ole Miss uniforms,
Powder blue's
nice.
good.
their baseball uniforms. Oh, dude.
Ole Miss has some. They don't utilize their powder blue enough. They haven't recently. Maybe
Right.
they may start.
Yeah.
They also should have never gone away from it. It should have been their primary forever.
Right. Screw Navy.
Navy sucks. That's sorry.
We're talking about the color, not the
yeah.
not the branch.
No.
So Vescovi met with
Big
the media.
military guys.
Yeah.
I'm not Joe Buck.
Take that, Joe Buck. So Vescovi, he met with the media, had some comments. He said he's a quicker, leaner, and a better three-point shooter.
Better? Oh, I missed that. I saw the quicker, leaner part. Said he's better defensively.
Can go by defenders.
Go by defenders.
Also
now.
a better three-point shooter. I mean, he was a pretty dang good three-point shooter last
And
year.
I think he'll be
I don't know if he looked so good because we were so bad.
maybe. I think a lot of his duties this year will be more spot-up guy. I don't think he'll have to get open. I don't think he'll have to have the ball in his hand when he tries to shoot that three-pointer. I think he's going to be able to come off.
Because you have guards that can go by people now.
Yeah, I think his job will get a little bit easier
Yeah,
this year. So,
absolutely.
and looking good with that silver, going for the silver fox look, I reckon.
Me too.
Yeah. And, we've mentioned it before. I've seen it mentioned more this week. You got to remember, too, the shape Vescovi came in last year. I mean, he just showed up. He wasn't in... He may have been... I mean, he's fit. But he wasn't fit enough to go through a conference schedule in 2.5 months. So, he comes in a different guy. You would have liked to have him for the summer. Obviously, what happened in 2020 just didn't... It wasn't available. But you're at least going to have him for the fall. Whereas you got him on December 27th last year.
But what's so good with him, overseas, he's playing against professionals. So, he got to utilize that.
Kind of mentioned he's playing 5-on-5 just about every day.
Yeah.
So,
Love it.
yeah.
I'm gonna start a rumor.
Okay. Let's hear it.
I guess this isn't
Throwback
really a rumor.
unis?
No. Vescovi's all SEC this year.
Okay. Okay. Wow. So how many all SEC guys does Tennessee have then?
Hopefully
Vescovi
5.
You think 5?
We just have all 5. First team, all 5. No, I don't know. I could see 3. I could probably see 3.
Are you including SEC Player of the Year John Fulkerson?
Yes, 100%. I think Pons is probably Defensive Player of the Year. I don't know if he's all SEC, but he's probably Defensive Player of the Year.
I mean, that's all SEC.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Then, maybe get 4. Does freshman count? Freshman all SEC?
So, I mean, you probably have those guys. I mean, unless they're just really good, they have their own cat. They may not make the first or second team, but they make the freshman.
So yeah, maybe you could see 5.
I mean,
Jaden Springer and Keon make
I feel like there's only going to be
freshmen.
one. I feel like only one of them would make it.
You think?
Probably Keon, from what we know today. But I think having 2 freshmen of the year, one's probably not going to start. I'm not against it.
Right.
I'm not against it. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm putting a lot of expectations on it. But yeah, I'm going Vescovi all SEC. Bold take.
Okay. I like it.
He also mentioned Victor Bailey Jr. will be a game changer for us.
I like it.
And then he talked about how athletic Springer and Keon are. I think that's huge because I think that was what we were missing last year. We had Pons, but at guard, we just weren't that athletic.
Correct.
I mean, Vescovi was like one of our best. He was our best guard, and he was slow. He was, kind of out of shape. He wasn't in SEC game shape.
No, the guard play is going to be drastically better.
Yep. And then he said EJ Anasicki is a unit, and you can't stop him, especially when he goes to the rim.
I love it. I thought that's what we missed last year. So hopefully he's that way, same way on the defensive board. But
And this seems going to be fun to watch. If we're that good defensively, you know what that leads to?
fast breaks.
And you know what that leads to?
dunks.
Dunks. Big dunks.
He just threw the ball through the air, and he caught it in the air. John Fulkerson caught it in the air and threw it through the hoop in a downward motion. John Michael Fulkerson, SEC Player of the Year.
That would be
You
wild.
heard it here first.
That would be wild. If you
So,
go back
I need to check
3
it.
years ago when he was falling around.
I wouldn't have guessed it last year.
Oh, yeah.
I love Fulkerson, man. I love it. He's always going to have a couple plays where he goes complete, full baby giraffe, and I love it.
He's a lifer.
Because I love that you're going to see him flopping around on the court, just like randomly, and then the next play is going to be blocking your all-SEC forwards shot.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be it's going to be fantastic to watch.
Because they don't really respect him because he's just a tall, lanky white guy.
I love it. You got anything else for basketball news? You want to mention?
I got some more rumors.
Okay. Basketball rumors? Okay. Kumwa. What do you like about him?
He's gonna be big. He's gonna be a huge boost off the bench.
Okay.
Much improved. Is he Grant Williams? No.
He's going to have to be much improved because
I think EJ Anasicki is more like a Grant Williams.
Yeah, I agree with that. Kumwa's going to have to be much improved because if he's not, you're just not going to see the court much this year.
Yeah.
So if he sees the court, you got to assume he is much improved.
Yep. And then EJ, he leads us in rebounds.
I'd agree with that because I love Pawns. But he's not a rebounding machine because he's not a guy that just goes in there and fights for him. He's going to out-jump people, but to do that, the ball's got to bounce your way.
Mm-hmm. And he's usually like, if they're going to the rim, he's usually trying to block the shot and not going to get the rebound.
Yep. Which, hey, he's won us a lot of games doing that.
I'll take it.
And if you have EJ Anasicki there to move people around, Grant Williams to move people around, it'll be all right.
Yep.
You'll be all right. I'm looking for
big dunks.
Because I can't remember how many block shots he is. I think it was possible that he gets it in the SEC tournament.
Yeah, he taught it.
He did tie it for most blocks in school history. He tied it last year.
I think so.
Spawns did. Okay. I was trying to find it, but I don't know if I will.
Yeah, I think he needed like that one more game.
And he would have definitely had it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good for. Not only is he good for a block, he's good for a block out of the gym.
Yeah, it's like, why did you even attempt to throw that up?
Right. All right, here we go. Block shots in a career. CJ Black has 212. This wasn't updated, obviously. Golly. I mean, I didn't realize Grant Williams had 160 in 104 games. He wasn't even on this list last year. Is that right? Going into it?
Probably not. I mean, just think he would.
I mean, he would have had to have almost 100 blocks last season.
It was, whatever the. Do you have the single season? Maybe.
Yeah. Kyle Alexander had his second was 64 in 18-19. But I don't even have East Pawns on here. That's pretty insane.
I'll find it.
I'll get his stats up. But I knew he was close. I knew it was like play an SEC game or two and you might get it. But
Finished the season with 73 blocks, tying CJ Black for Tennessee's single season record.
okay. So he has a single season. Maybe
Right, yeah,
not
that was
career.
that was
Okay.
single season, yes.
I thought he was closer in career too. Okay. Gotcha. So it's just season.
So how many does he have in his career?
I'm gonna try to find that real quick. At least 73.
Right, yeah.
Let's see here. I'm working on it, guys.
When you get
It's gonna be
to
beautiful in that in that orange uniform. Those blocks are.
I can't wait. I mean, we don't really get to see him in person much, but
No.
we might.
That does suck. You're right. You don't get to see. Why are blocks not on here? That sucks.
Maybe when we go to the Final Four, we get to see him.
Perfect. I like it. Will fans be allowed at the Final Four? How many fans are going to be allowed inside of Thompson?
Can't be that many.
Yeah, I mean, but is it going to be less than 25%? I got to think it's going to be like right at it, right?
And then, like, does it change if they find a cure?
You'd think, but I don't know about that.
I don't know.
Oh. So he didn't even average 1 block per game in his previous seasons. I'm trying to pull up the...
He didn't play that much either.
You're right, he didn't, because he did almost nothing for us offensively in his first couple of years. I mean, he started in 18 for a brief moment, and then when he couldn't give us anything defensively or offensively, it was just...
Yeah, because he was playing wing at that point, and it was just like, oh, gosh.
Yeah. So he had 15 in 18 and 19, 15 blocks, 2 in 17, 18. Sorry, that's my computer. 2 in 17, 18. So, not too. He's going to need another 73 season to come close to that. That's wild to go from 15 to 73. That's insane.
Player of the year?
He has 90 career total. Is that right? 90 career total. So he's probably not going to get...
No.
Whatever.
But he could come back.
John Fulkerson could come back.
Oh, yeah, lifer.
John Fulkerson's coming back, right?
Yeah,
you
he's
heard it here
coming
first? Okay. That's a rumor I'm starting.
I mean, Rick Barnes would be like, dude, you're coming back.
John Fulkerson's coming back. You heard it on this
Yeah.
podcast first. Lady Vols played Florida this week in soccer. That's why I'm wearing my Lady Vols hat.
Okay.
Yeah, Lady Vols soccer hat. So, go beat the Gators.
Gators.
Well, I mean, who knows? COVID's just running rampant down there. Maybe they won't even be able to come.
Oh, gross.
They're still playing their game this week, right?
Who?
Florida.
Oh, I think.
They're playing, so I mean, that leads us into the college football preview. They're playing Missouri. Missouri should be traveling to Florida, but
Yeah, it's still on.
okay.
As of now.
They had 6 positive tests on Monday, so I wasn't sure.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. And then also you've got Boston College at number 1 Clemson. Check that spread for me real quick, will you? Last week they were a 40-point favorite over
31.
just Clemson cover. That's gonna become my new favorite game because they didn't cover last week. They shouldn't have covered. That's stupid. 41 points. That's stupid.
Yeah. No, 31's a lot.
31 is a lot of points.
Boston College is 4-2. I don't know.
Drew Brees
man.
about 5'11".
What's the weather like?
I don't think it matters for Clemson. You should try to figure out if they can throw the ball everywhere or
It
not.
probably doesn't.
Then you've got number 5 Georgia at Kentucky. Don't think that's going to be a good game. Then you got Memphis at number 7 Cincinnati. Cincinnati college football playoff per Desmond Howard.
They're only a 7-point favorite.
Georgia?
Cincinnati.
Oh, Cincinnati. Okay. I'm not shocked by that. Michigan State, the great Michigan State,
Oh, yeah.
who Gregory Schiano took down in just dominating fashion to kick off his coaching career. Michigan State. Could you have thought anybody could ever beat that team?
No, God,
I mean,
no.
come on.
Yeah.
And Greg Schiano does it in game number 1?
Le'Veon Bell was playing for him.
Insane.
And Kirk Cousins.
The Jets should hire him.
Yeah.
They might.
You want to know the line on that one?
Michigan State, Michigan?
Yeah. 24.5.
I almost guessed 21. Why'd you say it before I did?
Sorry.
It's okay.
I just want to get out there because, like,
I would've-
Michigan's such a dominant win
Yeah.
by Greg Schiano.
Michigan State.
Yeah. So, did I say Michigan?
Yeah.
But
Don't
yeah,
gift him
Michigan
that.
State's just a dominant win. I just can't believe they pulled that off.
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
Shock the world, baby.
Absolutely. Then next you've got number 16 Kansas State at West Virginia.
What's the Ross Kivitz school got?
Do what now?
Ross Kivitz school, what they got? What's Kansas State got going on?
Well, they're going to be West Virginia, right?
West Virginia's a favorite.
Are they?
3.5.
Okay.
Is
Ross
that is that a one you want to put money on?
I might. That might be my play of the week, guys.
Pick 'em.
It might be my play of the week. After that, you've got number 20, Coastal Carolina Shots. Still don't know if I'm saying that right. I think that's how you say it. George, no one's correcting me. Everyone spells it. They'll like type it in the chat. I have no, but it's spelled the same way. I swear someone told me it was the Shants, not the Shants. Like I think it's the Chanticleers, not the Chanticleers. But every time
Chandeliers.
every time I ask is it the Shants or the Shants, they just type it. I'm like, I have no clue.
Okay.
So, still not sure about that one. But they've got Georgia State taking the Shants. Shants by 100.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Shants. Since you said we'll go Shants.
Shants by 100. Number 20.
Get the line of that 2.5.
Shants?
Shants.
Play of the week. Book it. Got 2 plays of the week.
I mean, I don't bet on games, but man, some of these I'm like,
I'm taking Kansas State to cover and the Coastal Carolina Shots.
shots.
To cover. Next up, I've got number 23 Iowa State at Kansas. What's the line on that one? I might have another play.
28.5.
I might take Kansas to cover 28 points for Iowa State.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Are they even going to score 28 points? They got beat by 55 last week, didn't they?
But the Mad Hatter's 0-5, so do with that what you will.
They got grass or turf at Kansas. Depends on what he's eating that day. Are they feeding him good?
They're at MedLife. Somebody's going to tear an ACL.
Number 4, Notre Dame at Georgia Tech. Notre Dame, just wait. I think they're just waiting to get upset in the ACC somewhere.
Oh, I can't
just
wait.
waiting on it.
Can't wait.
Number 17, Indiana. They got a tough game against Rutgers this week. That'll be a really hard one.
Oh, yeah.
What's the line? What's the line here? What do we got?
It doesn't have one.
Doesn't have a line. Oh, Greg Schiano's just not a gambling man, apparently. Interesting.
No one wants to bet on that.
Texas at number 6, Oklahoma State.
3.5.
Will Texas be back this week?
God, no.
It's hard for me to... that's a game you stay away from. It's
yeah.
hard for me to take Oklahoma State there. I feel like they've got a loss somewhere on their schedule. So it's Texas or Oklahoma.
Yeah, they've always kind of crapped the bed.
Yeah. See if it'll happen this week. Stay away from that one, guys. Number 25, Boise State at Air Force. You heard it here first. Navy sucks. Air Force. It's a joke. Mississippi State at number 2, Bama. Good Lord, dude. This will be... I think this could be a shootout again.
31?
Like Ole Miss.
31?
31's the line. I think I take Mississippi State to cover.
Not if they only scoring 2 points.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? You're going to be looking at a team. So they, Mississippi State scored however many on LSU. I think they're going to score 21 on Bama at least. So you're going to be looking at Kentucky held Mississippi State to less points than Alabama did.
LSU, they scored 44 against LSU. They haven't scored more than 14 since.
Okay, maybe not. Maybe I gave Mike Leach too much credit there. Normally not a Mike Leach truther. Might have given him too much credit there. I don't know.
Yeah, not a big Leach guy.
Not a big Leach guy.
You're not hanging on to him.
I'm not a pirate guy, man. I like land. I like being on land.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's my issue with him.
Got to get your sea legs.
Exactly. Number 3, Ohio State, and number 18, Penn State this week. That'll be a good matchup in the Big Ten. Finally, get a Big Ten matchup worth watching. I think
Penn State lost last week.
They're not a bad team though. They're not a bad team.
No.
And this year more than any, I don't think Ohio State's gonna be super dominant. Justin Fields looked good their first week, but
Chris Olave got hurt. I don't know what his injury is, but he walked off the field. So
I don't see him being super dominant. So I think it gives Penn State a chance. I think it'll be a good game. And then Arkansas at number 8, A&M. Man, you hope Arkansas just gets twaxed, right? They've got to have some confidence.
No, I kind of want them to win. I don't want them to get twaxed because then they respond against us. Yeah. But this is definitely a game Tennessee fans are going to tune into to see kind of what does Arkansas have?
Right.
Navy, what does Texas A&M have? Because they're
on the schedule too.
Yeah, they'd be next.
On the schedule. Navy at number 22, SMU. Navy just hadn't looked good this year.
No, they haven't.
SMU gets another one. I think they do. Number 15, UNC at Virginia. UNC doing it. Are they going to bounce back from that Florida State loss? That was ugly, man.
Virginia hasn't looked good.
No.
The line's only at 7 though.
I don't know about that one.
You stay away.
Stay away from that one. Number 24, Oklahoma at Texas Tech. Oklahoma's looking a little bit better especially than they were the first couple weeks.
Yep. Might have figured it out.
Yep. And then Western Kentucky at BYU. Got this one written down because we're getting a little Pac-12 after dark action. That game doesn't start till 10:15.
Good Lord.
Yeah. We've been begging for it, and we got it. They said, you want it, come get it. Pac-12, sort of, after dark.
In Provo, in the mountains, baby.
Yeah. It's going to be a cold one, I imagine. That late in Utah?
This is 60 degrees. That's not right.
Can't believe that. Is it summer there?
I don't
Man,
know.
another hemisphere?
I guess so. The line's 29.
I'll take BYU. Take BYU. All right. NFL power rankings.
NFL power rankings.
Titans still in yours?
They are.
They are. Okay, so who'd you bump? All right, let's do this. Who you got at number 1 then?
Got the
Titans.
Chiefs.
You got the Titans at
Nah,
number 1?
I ain't got the Titans.
I've got Kansas City at number 1 too.
Number 2.
Green Bay.
Green Bay. Okay.
Still riding that wave high. Still riding it.
Okay. Number 2, I got the Steelers.
Did I see right that...
No, I'm changing that. I'm sorry.
Did I see
I love
right
their
that
schedule.
J.J. Watt was rumored to be going to Green Bay?
That real?
I don't know. I feel like I saw one tweet about it, so I'm asking maybe... Because I think it was like midday today. I wasn't really paying attention. Did someone just, like us, starting basketball rumors, just toss that out there?
Maybe.
Interesting. Okay, well, never mind then. But number 2, you just changed it.
Number 2, I'm going with Packers too.
Okay.
I looked at the
Win, baby,
Steelers'
win.
schedule. That schedule is trash.
Undefeated this year?
I mean, they could go. Me and Brody were talking. They could go 14-2.
Easy. You gotta
They got to play the Ravens this week.
You gotta hope Roethlisberger stays healthy too.
But they've beaten like the Giants, the Broncos, the Browns, Cincinnati, maybe.
Yeah.
Like they've
Not played hardly anybody.
and they were up 20 on the Titans and almost lost.
They did. Number 3, I've got Seattle.
Number 3, I got the Ravens.
Okay. That's my number 14. I've got Baltimore.
Number 4, I got the Steelers.
Okay. 5, I've got Pittsburgh. So
5, I got the Titans.
Seattle's out after that Arizona loss, huh?
I'm
still high.
Yeah. It'll change next. They'll probably be back in it next week.
I mean, I think Arizona's going to be one of those teams this year. They'll beat just about anybody. Like they have the opportunity to beat just about anybody.
right.
Their
And
offenses-
the Bucks is the same way. Like they could.
yeah.
They could easily be in the top 5 too.
Don't think I'd have them as a contender for like the Super Bowl. Probably not one of the best teams in the NFL, but they have a chance to beat one of the best teams in the NFL.
So if you had to pick 2 teams to be in the Super Bowl, who would you pick? Chiefs, probably.
Yeah, and I just don't know about Green Bay because Rodgers has only won 1 championship, right?
Yep.
So I just don't know. Do you go Seattle because they've been there, and then Russell Wilson's probably an MVP?
But their defense is atrocious. So
I mean, my
I don't know. Do the Bucks have a real shot?
my head tells me maybe because the NFC just doesn't have a ton of dominant teams, so maybe. Whereas I feel like Kansas City's going to just run away with the AFC.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They're dominant. I don't know if the NFC has a dominant team. I mean, maybe Green Bay, but they lack a lot still.
And the Titans are such a good matchup with Kansas City because they're a ground and pound
Yeah,
team. They don't try to boat race you.
right. You're right. And
They can slow it down and give themselves a chance at the end of the game.
and Baltimore too. It's unfair, I guess, to leave them out of the mix. And then maybe the Steelers this year. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
we'll see against the Ravens this week how good they actually are.
I'm not buying into the hype yet. That's why I'm having.
I think their defense is good, but I think their offense kind of lacks a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
They have some good players on offense too. I don't know if Big Ben can lead them to another
Josh
Super Bowl.
Dobbs.
He could. Just give him a shot. He's a gamer.
Yeah, he is.
Not a great practice player, but a hell of a gamer.
Hell of a gamer. According to Butch Jones, we don't really know.
Yeah, right.
According to Butch Jones, he's not a good practice player.
Right.
He did have him doing math problems though while he was throwing the ball. So
And he didn't have a quarterback coach, so was he just out there just running drills with Farmer Fran? Like,
I guess. I don't know. All right, Stupidity's an epidemic.
Stupidity. I have Kim Kardashian West as my first one. She tweeted out a picture of her, Chloe, and Courtney and says, "Girls just want to have sun."
Okay.
And they're in the shade.
Yeah. Okay. And she also had that Private Island tweet.
Yeah, that was a bad tweet, too.
And then I think I saw where today, I think Khloe Kardashian tested positive for coronavirus.
She got on a private island?
I guess she said they did all that medical testing. I guess that wasn't true. I don't know, man.
Good Lord. A bunch of more.
I think that's true. I think Chloe does that, I believe. Don't hold me to that. Please don't. But I think so. First one, I've got NCAA for stupidity. They vacated 3 years of wins for the UMass women's tennis team, including an A10 conference championship, over a total of $252 in the form of an inadvertent fee for an off-campus phone jack neither player knew existed.
Wait, a phone jack?
So I'm assuming, like, in the apartment, they paid for, like, some kind of accessory with the apartment. I don't know. And the school was inadvertently paying for it in the bill, and they weren't supposed to. It wasn't part of their things they get paid for or whatever. They noticed it because the UMass invited NCAA in for an audit, and then they took away 3 years of wins, including a conference championship.
Come on.
Oh, they're dumb.
But hey, Will Wade's still employed. Still got his job.
I know. I said Will Wade laughs.
Yeah.
Caught on an FBI wiretap. Not enough evidence.
Yeah. Penny Hardaway's fine. Will Wade's fine. Just, what a joke. What a freaking joke. My next one is a guy says, Alex, he says, so excited I got to meet Post Malone. It's a picture of him and Shia LaBeouf.
Was it Shia? I didn't know who it was. I guess I didn't look. Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And then Post Malone comes back. He's like, that's not... He said, F it. Nice meeting you. Nice meeting you too, man.
I have a feeling that Shia LaBeouf told him he was Post Malone. I just have that feeling.
Might have been. Shia LaBeouf
And you
has
never
a
know.
huge
Shia
element.
LaBeouf could have been so high that he thought he was Post Malone.
He could have been.
Like,
yeah.
you just don't know the circumstances around this.
He had an interbody experience.
Yeah. My last one, Lane Kiffin. I love Lane Kiffin. Big Lane Kiffin guy. Kind of like Mike Leach. Love to watch him from afar.
Yeah.
He said, you may not want him to be on your team, but you like watching. He said he got fined $25,000 for tweeting about the SEC officiating, which is, dumb all on its own. Dumb that they get a fine for that, whatever. He said, we're going to fine 25,000 pennies. Fixed it and said 250,000. Then he fixed it again because he realized he was still wrong. Put $2.5 million.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
Just
Math is hard. He's
amazing.
He's a football guy.
He's a football guy. He is. You're right. I don't even know why I'm hating on him. I love it. I love that he tweeted it, never deleted it, just kept trying. Resilience is important in this game.
Yeah, just keep replying. Eventually we'll get it right.
Eventually we will. So I love it. And I would love if he could somehow in this coin shortage get... I probably have 250 million or 2.5 million pennies at my house because I just don't do anything with pennies. Like I'd take quarters and stuff to use. Pennies, no. So if he finds... I think everybody should round up their pennies, send them to Lane Kiffin. Because I think he should pay the SEC office in pennies for that.
That'd be hilarious.
It would be. Unfortunately, Greg Sankey would make a secretary. He'd be like, the guy on Happy Gilmore. What's his name? Oh, Ben Stiller.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, your back's... My fingers are hurting. Oh, yeah, your back's going to be hurting because you're on lawn duty. That's what he's like with his secretary. He's like, roll all these quarters. And she's like, my fingers hurt. Oh, yeah? That's Greg Sankey. So... It wouldn't really punish him. It only punishes poor old secretary.
Yeah.
But
She's probably every bit of 100.
that dude's a twat. You heard me. Twat. Dude, did you see Arizona? This is not a stupidity. Did you see Arizona State's throwbacks?
Yeah.
They are beautiful.
Nice.
I love the logo. I love the jersey. Everything about them.
I saw something today where they're projecting Tennessee and Arizona State in Las Vegas to play in a bowl game.
I mean, 2 trips? 2 trips to Vegas?
Same month?
What bowl's in Vegas?
The Vegas Bowl.
That makes sense. that makes sense.
I love it, baby.
Also, Nashville SC, a little talking soccer here. They could clinch a playoff spot tonight. I guess it's still their first season. If Atlanta loses or draws, or Inter Miami loses. They had a big win the other night over Montreal, and they get a playoff spot if either of those things happen tonight.
Hey.
And if they don't, they can still, I believe, win on Saturday and get in the playoffs.
Okay.
But if those things happen tonight, they clinch and they're good.
Playoffs.
Playoffs? In soccer? Football? Insane.
And Major League Baseball made it through.
Barely, if it wasn't for third baseman. Who was it?
What's his name? I can see
out
his
there
face.
just kissing people with the coronavirus.
Right.
I love that they pulled him out mid-game because he tested positive. I'm like, he's already played a full 8 innings, almost an entire baseball game, and you're really going to pull him out? Just
Justin Turner.
a half inning. He's probably not even going to bat in the next half inning. Let him play another half inning and be done with it.
And then he comes out after the game?
I'm going to be honest. I'd probably do the same damn thing. I just want a World Series.
But you can't let that happen.
Oh yeah, the MLB looks dumb for it, but I'm like, you can suck me from behind. I'm celebrating the World Series.
So, like, there was a video, they're like, Justin Turner's back on the field. I'm like, is he in a hazmat suit? Because that would have been hilarious.
That would have been good. And then I'm trying to picture it. It would have been awesome. It's like a scene from Monsters Inc. Then they get onto him for kissing his wife. Like, everyone's like upset about him. Like, what the hell do you think he was going to do for 14 days in quarantine? You know, they're going to do more than that, guys.
Right, yeah. So, like, they're supposed to lock him in.
He wasn't making out with Clayton Kershaw. It's okay.
No, that would have been okay.
Would have been hot, man. I won't lie.
Something about redheaded guys with beards just in a hazmat suit trying to make out with out with the ace.
Apparently, he kissed the trophy, which I'm like, could you not wait a couple more weeks to kiss the trophy? Like, let's be.
Yeah, that could have waited.
You could have hold.
You didn't have to.
Yeah. Oh. But they're also like, Rob Manfred's out there handing out trophies. I'm like, you don't know. And then there's 11,000 fans there. I'm like, you didn't test all of them. TSA. If you feel secure, if you feel safe, you're safe, right?
Right. You think OBJ will be handing out money to them?
No. He'll be handing out OBJ bucks. What did he say they were? They're like, it was fake money.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what it was. OBJ bucks.
OBJ bucks. He's got these shit dollars.
Oh, my God. Yeah, he's out for the season. So what does he do
making
now?
fun of him last Sunday. He can't go to LSU and watch games. Suspended.
Man's just getting pooped on. He loves it.
I was going to say, you say it like he's upset about it.
He loves it.
Upset at the prospect of that. Good Lord. Well, guys, that's all I've got. Join us Sunday again. No Saturday show. Vols aren't playing. We don't have a key to bye week, win bye week. Don't lose bye week. Lose bye week, you're in trouble. That's Butch Jones. Win bye week. Be done with it. Let's get it out clean. We'll be back on Sunday talking about we'll talk some more bye week, but then talk about NFL, maybe a little bit of college football as well as that's it. And then we'll preview Arkansas on Wednesday. But join us on Sunday. Yeah, you've been a Tennessee fan. There'll be plenty to talk about.
Get it fixed. No rest.
Nope.
And win the bye week. That's all we got. We're bringing the boat in. Love you guys, and we out.